Does your bedroom nightstand look like mine? Hi everyone, it's Jeff from Magnitude 10 Comics. For those of you who also love to read comic books, I'd like to start a series where we share and discuss what we've been reading. Stay tuned. Okay, well, as I mentioned, this series I'd like to cover what I've been reading. As you may know already, I was a big fan of Batman. I read a lot of different things, a lot of different novels, but when it came to comic books, I read and had subscriptions at different points, Batman, Daredevil, Moon Knight, Rom, and had a big break from reading. Read for work, a lot of technical stuff, read through university for my education, but had a big break, then started to read again about 15 years ago with the New 52. Then just kind of fell out of it. It wasn't really holding my interest. And now recently I'm back reading again. So I look forward to, please subscribe and share your comments, share what you're reading. If you're also reading the same lines that I'm reading, the same books that I'm reading, you can comment, as far as my opinion, or I won't say so much a critique, but definitely share your thoughts. Welcome that, and appreciate everyone that has been subscribing to the channel. I wanted to give a shout out to Daz, the Comic Key Chaser. Looks like you're from Great Britain. I have subscribed to your channel, so appreciate the subscription and look forward to sharing with all of you out there who are also fans and readers in particular. So in this series, I just want to kind of share thoughts on what I've been reading. I am using Canva to put these together, so I have to take breaks every now and then. I'll try to learn how to put the different points so you can flip through, especially if there's something you're more interested in than others. So just to dive in real quick, I have been trying to catch up on the Saga series. So these trade paperbacks are great. They cover about 6-7 issues in one trade paperback reader. Readers are great because, they're, if something happens to them while you're reading, if they get damaged, that's okay. You can feel good about reading them. I like to read the physical. Some people prefer to read electronically. I might shift to that at some point. We'll see, but for now, at least, as a dealer, if I take care in reading it, I can pass that on. It's pretty easy, even with a so-called floppy, like a current periodical that comes out every month, to read that and keep it in good shape. Some of the variant covers have a cardstock cover that's even sharper and harder. Just try to keep it in good shape and keep it in a bag and board once you're done. Just slide it in and store it away. Either pass it along or whatever you plan to do. Now, in some cases, you're probably familiar with the Absolute series that DC launched in October. So the trilogy is out so far. It started with Batman 1. We're up to issue 3 now. Wonder Woman and Superman are also in this alternative world. So by the way, I have read the Batman and Detective lines, but I wanted to talk today about some of the other stories that are out there available on the newsstand that aren't in the main series line. And Absolute Batman will be one of them. just briefly, I'd mention, like, I had a chance to meet Neil Adams before he passed. Of course, Neil Adams is known for his fantastic covers. He worked for both DC and Marvel. Batman 251 is a very famous Batman cover that he did. So starting in the very late 60s up through, he did, I pulled the first issue of this out of maybe a dollar bin at some point, and was kind of intrigued because in this case, this has a publication date, I believe. I believe it was published, originally published in single magazine form, Batman versus Ra's al Ghul, issues 1 through 6, 2019, 2020, 2021. He just recently passed away, I believe. He is credited with writing as the writer, artist, colorist. So pretty much this is his complete homage to Batman. I would say that it struck me as for a little bit younger audience, a lot of action. The script is not a very sophisticated or deep read. I would give it a solid B, above average. It didn't, I've turned to some other stuff. I do plan to go back to it and give it its due shrift, or however you say, to make it through and see what I can learn from it. These are great value. This was $17. They tend to put like some information in here on his biography, some other character sketches and developments along the way in the back. So that's a great read. Something before you go to bed, you can pick up and read. Then I picked up this trade paperback. This is reprinting Batman number 25 through 27, 29 through 33 from the New 52 series. This was Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And this was a great, it was great to go back and read this. I really enjoy Scott Snyder's work on Batman, and this is a great refresher and reminder of that. I'd give it a solid A. Not that we have to grade things, but for what it's worth. And then finally, I've been kind of slowly working my way through Bob Kane's autobiography. Now, this is just a standard. There are some art there. There are some sections of art, but for the most part, it's more of a typical prose or non-fictional book. So some fascinating, stories. I met a fellow from Heritage Auctions that knew some of these stories, so that led to a great conversation at a convention in St. Louis this past fall. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll jump into taking a closer look at 3 Batman titles. Absolute Batman issue number 3, Dark Patterns number 1, and then the surprise for me, Batman and Robin. I'm jumping in on issue 3. I'm already wanting to go back and find issue 1 and 2. So I'll be right back with a short intermission. Okay, hopefully it was a little bit seamless. I'm using a little higher resolution, which is good. I think this is showing up better. I'm still learning how to produce these videos in some kind of decent fashion, so thank you for bearing with me. There might be little blips or whatever, because I can do about 4 minutes at this resolution as far as what Canva only allows you to upload a gigabyte. So for those of you that are like me, new to YouTube, new to video editing, hopefully maybe that is something that would help. So before the break, we said we were going to take a look at 3 titles. I'll start with Absolute Batman #3. We have Scott Schneider back, and he's living up to his expectations. Nick Dragotta is doing the art. I like his art. I mean, these guys look like goons. It's definitely distinctive. Some people have commented that it's bulky. Oh, and by the way, spoiler alert, if you have not read this, and I'm not going to mention too much or show too much, but you definitely don't want to listen to this if you haven't read Absolute Batman. So that's a brief spoiler alert before I dive into this. But I like his artwork. The characters are starting to develop. We're starting to see flashbacks. This storyline is called The Zoo. We have a bunch of, so they've kind of flipped the script. We have Alfred as a trained mercenary who is back in Gotham, and Batman doesn't have his wealth. He's not wealthy. Possibly his mother survived. Some of the things I'm still picking up on, maybe a foreshadow of Selena Kyle being friends with her. In a previous issue, he was playing poker with the usual villains. But some people have commented that they don't like his artwork, but I like it. It's definitely different. It's not your typical Batman and Robin, or the Dark Knight, or even the campy Batman 66. So I think it's a great addition to the world of Batman. Very creative, and it's definitely has me hooked. There was a nice cliffhanger at the end. We now know the main villain is the Black Mask, or at least the version of the Black Mask. He almost looks like an alien in some of the earlier artwork, and continuing here, there's some different technology. He's a younger looking guy, beefier, bulkier, and has different strategies. We ended the last episode, the last issue ended with the bat kind of like bulldozer, and it continues. Let me see if there's a nice, a little bit larger print. And it continues, he transforms it, which, you know, suspended belief as far as the technology goes, but pretty good job. I would definitely give it an A, where I felt like this lacked on the script, and I would put it more like a B. This held my attention. I read it straight through, easily held my attention, and read it last night, and looking forward to the next episode. So I'm going to hang in there with Absolute Batman. That's a definite read for me. Okay, we're back. Next up is Dark Patterns. So this is the first, and I believe it's going to be maybe a limited 12-issue series, something like that. Might be wrong. Really enjoyed this. So here we have on scripts, and I don't know, it's got a double T, but Dan Waters and Hayden Sherman as the artist. So this is cover A. The artwork is really nice. They had a little preview in last month's and some of the other issues last month, and when I came across that, I recognized that. That preview was good. I'm glad they did that. It definitely intrigued me. I enjoyed the artwork. This is definitely more the gritty Dark Knight, and a very frightening serial killer type uh, um, villain has emerged. And so this is definitely more of a detective um, Dark Knight story in that genre. Very good writing. I love the artwork, and I'm really looking forward to continuing with this series. Just so I don't want to spoil it too much, but you know, if you hopefully you're, you know, looking at this after you've seen it, already know about it, or have read it. So aptly titled, We Are the Wounded. It definitely lived up to my expectations. I would give this an A as well. So moving on, the surprise for me, I'm jumping into Batman and Robin year 1. Issue 3 is where I'm jumping in, and I love this. To me, this is the real classic Batman and Robin. I thought it was an excellent take on it. I just look at the cover, and what a wonderful rendition of the Batcave. The coloring is excellent. It makes you really feel like you're in a cave. And just a really good, fun storyline. I would say, as opposed to the darker aspect, without Robin, as in Batman Dark Patterns, this still has a very good detective line, very good story. And as far as the credits here, we have, see if I can get to them. Okay, so they kind of work those in almost like a movie script. So we have Mark Waid. Okay, so you would expect a lot from Mark Waid as the writer. And he co-plotted it with the artist Chris Samney. Great job. I would definitely give this an A and highly recommend it. Like I said, I'm already wanting to go back and figure out how do I get issues 1 and 2. Again, I think this is intended to be a limited series, but don't hold me to that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to end with something other than Batman. So DC has launched a new series of the New Gods, and I was familiar with it. So back, the original series was created by Jack Kirby, and this is where we, you know, Apocalypse and Darkseid, Orion, the boom tubes, and all kinds of things. Where Jack Kirby created a whole you know, cast of characters and worlds. I've never really delved into it, but I've been slowly picking it up. If you're like me, you pick things up, you read a little bit here and there as you have time. So I've had it in mind to really learn about this whole universe of characters and do some reading. And now that, you know, DC has launched this, I started to read this, and I was really quickly like, oh, I'm not nearly as familiar with the background of this story to keep pace with this. That was just my initial reaction. So, you know, I'll keep working on this, but in the meantime, probably not going to go this far back, but I did happen to have this. I recently picked this up on a Black Friday sale. So I read this last night, and it was a good read. And it allowed me to connect a lot of things, like I did know about, for one thing, there were different miracle men and so forth. I'm trying to keep that straight. But in this case, this is where he was made immortal, or they were, I guess, he gained his immortality. So I'm kind of learning about the world and the other characters through this. This was a really good read. This is from April of '96. So there's multiple lines, multiple versions, but everything. So what you're looking for is what's in common, and you're trying to learn about the characters in the world. You can go back and do that, and that kind of helps. So, the High Father, Orion, this kind of covers the fact that he's married to Big Barda, and it gave the background that she was sent, that they trade like he was traded. She was sent to helpful mothers, on Apocalypse. So some pretty cool stuff. This was a pretty easy read. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. So you learn his actual name, Scott Free. They have a little Mr. Miracle created by Jack Kirby. So you just pick up a lot of information that way. And so that's part of learning that, okay, he was in the Justice League for a while. And so just kind of dipping into the stuff back and forth, you kind of start to pick up the background that you need if you're lacking that, like I was. And then this was one of my favorites from the '90s, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. 4 minutes goes fast when you're having fun talking about comic books. So, of course, Jack Kirby, another, so prolific, so seminal in the history of comic books. Definitely learn about him if you haven't. In his career, he worked for both Marvel and DC. Worked for, before it was Marvel. He was created a lot of characters and did different like monster and horror in the 50s. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is that I have not read but picked up. When I first got on eBay about 7 years ago, one of the things that did sell were my original copies of Red Rain and Bloodstorm. So Elseworlds was a title kind of like Marvel had What If, DC had Elseworlds in the 90s. So you had taking characters that you were familiar with and putting them in a different frame. Like here in these stories, there were three: Red Rain, Bloodstorm, and Crimson Mist. And this compiles all three. It's Dracula he runs into, and vampires. It was one of my favorites, so I'm really looking forward to going back and having a read there. Kelly Jones did the artwork, and just really some cool stuff. Let's see if we can. So lots of vampires and so forth, and great story. And especially I like Dracula, so combining the two. They did other things like, Batman gets the Green Lantern's ring and becomes a Green Lantern. Batman is an alien instead of Superman. That one was called Speeding Bullets. And I think the Green Lantern one was called Darkest Night, and they spelled it Knight. So definitely pick those up. These are great readers. And again, these trade paperbacks at $25. Some of them, I had like even some hardbounds, and they were quite expensive at the time. So very collectible, great story, great art. Definitely check that out if you get a chance, and let me know what you think. So here's where I wrap up. Thank you for participating in my YouTube channel. Appreciate if you take the time to subscribe. Of course, subscribing is what matters in the YouTube world, apparently. That's how we can know each other. Like I said, I look forward, if you'd rather do something else, that's fine. But for Magnitude 10 Comics, I'd like to do some fun stuff, like some giveaways, or just, as I get a community or connected to the community, I get people that are interested that take the time to subscribe, then I can start doing things like that. Because I will have things that I will be able to give away. You can let me know what you're interested in, if you think it's something worthy of giving away. But we could come up with some different ideas and do some fun things, because let's face it, we're a unique community when it comes to people that like comic books, and why not? It's all for the fun of reading and enjoying the art and stories, and the more we share, the better. So for this YouTube video, signing off, this is Jeff at Magnitude 10 Comics. Thanks for hanging in there, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, just wanted to let you know that I've restocked the booth at Mimi's Antique Mall, Magnitude 10 Comics, I-70 Warrenton exit behind Rural King. For December, I've restocked the dollar boxes, some fresh newsstand, we've added some new sets, some new trade paperbacks, $10, what a bargain, and a whole long box of more $2, $3, and $5 books. Give you an idea. And some 11 by 17 prints. Come on down to Mimi's Antique Mall, I-70 Warrenton exit. Check out Magnitude 10's booth. If there's something you don't see, contact us. We'd be happy to drop it off. The staff here is very helpful.